All right, welcome guys. Out here, week 6 of hop scouting. Take a look at this. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning out in this field, and it's still pretty dark. These walls of hops are, sun has a hard time penetrating in here, which actually can be an okay thing. We want really good photosynthesis, but they're still in the later parts of the day able to photosynthesize really well. But I think one of the real true benefits to having a little bit of shading and stuff is that we have less plant stress throughout the year. And that can be a big thing, especially this time of season, for mite pressure. When there's a lot of heat, the mites want to come in and feed on those stressed out leaves that have, UV damage or anything like that on them. So our weather is getting really intense, really warm. We're, kind of in that 95. We have a day, I was looking at the weather, it's predicting 108 degrees. So we're going to have some really warm weather over the weekend. And so that's something to be looking out for. That can cause you some issues. Make sure your fields are good and wet. So especially in these stages where they're going reproductive, as you can see, we're setting cones at this time now. This plant right next to it has a little bit of bloom still on it, so we're still in the very early stages of pushing out those cones. They're beautiful. The development is really well. You can already see good color on the inside. They smell great. There's just beautiful color on the outside of the cone, good development. A couple of things that you're going to be looking for. We're going to be using a lot of potassium as it goes reproductive. Still using a little bit of nitrogen. You want to be very careful with that, especially since it can attract a lot of mites if you have higher nitrates and stuff in your plants. So keep those things in mind. Be scouting for mites. Hot weather's coming. Scout up at the very top of your plants. Get your little pole, grab some laterals down from the top, because this time of the season, if you don't have mites in your fields, what could end up happening is you will have say a neighboring field that has mites in it. You get a little bit of wind or something like that, you get some dust traveling across from that field, it could bring mites in. And a lot of times when you have mites that are blowing in from somebody else, they start at the top of the wire. So pay close attention when you're scouting that you don't have mites starting in the top and then they get a hold of it and you didn't look up there, and then they start coming down and take over the field. Something to keep in mind that we use particularly, we use a cold pressed neem oil, and it is very good at killing eggs and really disrupting the reproductive cycles. So many different things. It works really good in combination with, say, a conventional miticide, something like that. Another thing we like to say is we use it a little more proactively. Instead of using it once you have 8 or 10 counts on these leaves, we use it when you see 1 or 2 mites, and that tends to keep really good control. It's a soft chemistry, it's not harmful, it doesn't, have any negative impact on the plant itself. A couple other things to keep in mind. We're still seeing powdery throughout the valley in various varieties and stuff like that. You want to try and get control of that as quick as you possibly can. What you don't want is the powdery creeping into your cones later on in the season as it starts setting those cones. That can be an issue. That's where it starts taking out your yield, starts taking out your quality, stuff like that. So keep that in mind, and remember, keep good nutrient levels. Pay attention, get out there, be checking your moisture probes, whatever you're using to track how you water. We don't want stressed out plants at this point in the season. So thank you for joining me this morning, and remember, make farming fun again.